Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back, all my beautiful friends from the internet. I am here with you once again today on a beautiful Tuesday, coming at you with radio frequencies transmitted through the air and making their way from this microphone into your ears right now. Welcome back to the Reddit Asks Us podcast, where we read and react to comments from r/Askreddit. I am your host, Luke Dick. Remember, if you're watching on YouTube, remember to like, remember to comment, and to subscribe. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever else you get your podcasts, make sure to leave us a rating, and also please leave us a review. Remember, if you want to comment something from the most recent episode or answer the question from the most recent episode and get that comment read aloud on the show, you can go and comment that under my YouTube channel at Reddit Asks Us on the most recent video, and I'll read that comment out loud on the next podcast. This one, unfortunately, I won't be able to do that for this one because I'm actually recording this a week in advance because I will be away skiing on a ski trip with my friends in British Columbia and won't really have access to do a whole recording, and I'll be skiing, so I won't be able to do that. But this one's getting recorded a week in advance. But for all the times where I'm not doing that, I will read your comments out aloud on the show. So welcome back, everyone. I just want to say I'm happy to be back here with you today and going through and just taking a deep old swan dive right back into our beautiful platform of Reddit. So today's episode is, what is an unhealthy obsession that people have? And there's a lot of good ones on here. This one kind of stuck out to me only because I think in the society that we live in, right? We live in such a consumer-based society, constant cycles of production and consumption, right? And we live in such a period of oversaturation, especially with media, and then we also live just on all of our lives, right? It's advertising, it's food, it's everything is, there's so much, right? It's all the time, it's always being thrown at us, right? It's really difficult to feel like you can actually take a break from modern society nowadays because there's so many things. And I think a lot of people might even have unhealthy obsessions with things that they don't even realize are unhealthy obsessions. And then you start to think about it and you're like, I don't really know if I should be doing this. That's me with see, I don't even know. I'm trying to justify my own unhealthy obsessions, but I feel like going, just even scrolling through Instagram and looking at memes can be unhealthy for me sometimes because it seems harmless, right? Because you're laughing, you're having a good time. It's not like you're engaged in any negative or bad behavior. But at the same time, I'll be on my phone for an hour, just scrolling, doing nothing. And then my phone will, I'll look at the time on my phone and I'm like, oh, I've been looking at memes for a full hour and I've completely just wasted a lot of time. So yeah, I think it's easier than ever to have unhealthy obsessions nowadays, just within the society that we live in and all the technological progress that we have experienced. But anyways, why don't we just hop right into this episode today? So, user Novit says, obsession with their social media image. Reply from Alex Malexum. A friend of mine's mother almost spends every waking hour on Facebook and Instagram. She is constantly updating the world in her life. My friend has had to stop sending her pics of his children because they would immediately fall on her Facebook. She has fallen for a number of scams. Thankfully, stopped by a friend before she loses money. It seems the only source of validation for her and in her life are the upvotes and the likes of friends and relatives and strangers. This is the social media one is an interesting one. I think it's just I think it's very important to be cognizant of what your relationship is with social media. Do you know what I mean? I try to keep in mind that whenever I'm doing posting photos on social media or something, that when I'm posting the photos, it's more about especially because I like going out and taking photos, and I like doing photography with my friends, and I like to do it as a casual thing because it's just a really fun little hobby, right? But I try to keep in mind that when I go out and take photos, like, I'm not taking photos for the likes. I'm not taking photos for anything in particular. I'm taking photos because I really genuinely enjoy doing it. And then I'm just going to share them. But I'm not really, I don't have to, I don't concern myself much with the like counts. And I think I like turned off my like count because I'm just like, I don't know. It's not, I'm not self-conscious about how many likes that I get. I just don't really think that it matters a whole lot. And part of removing that like count is I feel like for some people it is an important sort of thing to see on social media, especially for like I don't know. I think it's just important to encourage a culture on social media of like, just so you guys know, like, this doesn't matter, you know what I mean? Like, the amount of likes that, like, it's more about the photos, that the quality of the photos that I take, and the actual photography and the skills that went into, you know, creating some of these images. Is like, I feel like that should be the focus, not necessarily the like count and stuff. It's just, I think because taking photos is a form of art, you know what I mean? It's a form of expression, and I think like that's the main sort of thing that should be focused on, not the shareability of your post. But yeah, that definitely sounds like super toxic. 5K1895 says, I absolutely do not get people who post shit every day. I'm on some social media, but I post more passively. I don't post stuff much. I just keep up with certain people I know by checking it once in a while. Some of those people post the most mundane shit on a daily basis, and I guess it's possible some people care about it, but I don't personally understand why anybody would. Yeah, and that's the thing, is like, no one wants to have their timeline just like flooded with your shit. You know what I mean? Like, it's better to just, and like, this is the problem, man. Everyone's so obsessed with the content creation aspect of it, right? See, like, this podcast is nice because I only do this once a week, right? I mean, like, ideally, honestly, I actually would enjoy probably doing it more and expanding the show, but I just don't have the time right now. But, you know, that's something I'm thinking about in the future. But I think, especially when it comes to social media, like TikTok and Instagram, like, these platforms like reward you for just being constantly posting, glued. And it's like, and people expect that. Like, this is the thing. This is the trouble with it, especially for content creators and people who are people trying to be like funny or whatever. Is they're meant. The apps are designed for these people to be pushing out as much content as they possibly can. But when you do that, it reduces the quality of your work because you're so stressed about putting out content that you're actually not even focused on the quality of the content, right? Like, you're not even focused on like, especially I find this a lot with like comedic TikTokers and stuff, is that a lot of these comedic TikTokers are like, some of them struggle because, and then they post, you know, mediocre stuff that's not really very funny because they feel the pressure from these platforms to be constantly producing all this stuff, right? And it's like, it just makes the content less enjoyable, but it's frustrating because, you know, these are genuinely funny people, and the system is getting to them, you know, and that frustrates me as a fan of comedy, and as like a fan of people, of creators, right, and of content creators, is that I feel bad for them because their reach, or because some of these people live off of this sort of stuff, right? They need to get like whatever it is, 120,000 views on the next TikTok they have, or else, you know, they can't support themselves, and it's just like, you feel for these people sometimes because you're just like, you don't want, you know, they're funny, like, you know, they have the capacity to be very funny and genuine people, but these systems are so inherently designed for us to be milking us, right? But that's not how human beings are, right? Like, we ebb and flow with society. We ebb and flow with our daily lives, and with our mood, and, you know, our social ability. And it's like, you know, how many times has a TikToker or something like made a TikTok one day, and just that day they felt terrible, but they just knew they had to put something out. It could be a really toxic environment. Magic Quantry Social media image is pretty much the modern reputation. I know too many people that practically set up a fantasy on their social media, showing how amazing their life is, but you run into them in real life and they are incredibly miserable. They refuse to change anything or get rid of toxic people / behaviors because it would damage their online image. And this is the thing, man. Like, it's so impossible to keep up an image. You know what I mean? Like, I can't believe like how sheltered some of these like celebrities' lives must be, or social media influencers, because the eye of the media and the eye of pop culture is just always on you. Listen, guys, you can probably go back in my podcast and listen to some stupid thing that I have said in the past, or just something super dumb, and you can do this for anybody, man. Like if everyone that you knew's lives were being recorded and streamed at all moments, all the time, it would be impossible to have anybody with a pure conscience. It's just not, unless you're like a Buddhist monk or something who just doesn't speak, who's mute. You know what I mean? Who's kept a vow of silence. Unless you've like, it's not possible to be able to keep up these images, right? And then people all over social media just get so shamed for if they do, happen to mess up, or if they do anything that's like remotely human. It's like, and then we're meant to idealize these people, man. It's just like, oh, like even somebody like I think of somebody like Dwayne Johnson, like The Rock. He's supposed to be this pinnacle of a character, pinnacle of a human being, right? It's just like, he's this big jacked guy, he's super nice, you know what I mean? And it's just like, do you really think Dwayne Johnson hasn't said something rude to someone, or been rude, or been disrespectful to someone? I bet you have too. I bet there was one day where you didn't really feel like opening the door for somebody, and then like, obviously nothing would happen to you, but then that happens to someone like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, and then people are all over social media being like, oh, Dwayne didn't hold the door open for somebody here. Like, it's just, come on, man. Like, people are so nitpicky and too critical. All right, next one comes from Suvin Pan. 24-hour news cycles. Need a Throwaway 321 says, it's good to stay involved and informed, but goddamn, if people would just turn off the news, including Reddit, I feel like 90% of our culture war would disappear overnight, and we could focus on the real issues. CGOPS, 24-hour news, crosses out news, current events, opinion cycles. Let's be real. Most modern news gives an ounce of data / facts to every pound of opinion. Far too many people watching that stuff don't want to come to their own conclusions about what happened. They want a headline and to be told how they should feel about it. We need to enact a law that all reporting should have a constant disclaimer that is not news, it's opinion / propaganda. Yeah, I really highly doubt that CNN is going to be like, oh, just so you guys know, this is a propaganda piece. The only time they should be allowed to call it news is if the show / segment is presenting information or facts and no commentary is allowed. That is news. Everything else is just trying to frame news, though, through the lens of agenda. Yeah, it's like we went over this in my journalism class fairly recently. It was like a clip from, they said it was a clip from Syria, where there was some. Anyways, sorry guys, I had to take a slight break. I lost my train of thought because my washing machine was going fucking crazy. It was shaking around and all sorts of weird stuff. But yeah, they showed this clip from this, like, it was what was it? I think it was CNN or ABC or NBC or something like that. Their news, I can't remember what it was, but it was one of those like mainstream American sort of news channels, and they were playing these videos of some shooting or something that was going on in Syria or something like that. And then it turned out that the actual video and where it came from was like a gun range in Kentucky, but it had been edited to look like it was Syria, right? And it's just like, that is just blatant like disinformation. Like that is just, it's so disingenuous. Like to do stuff like that is to blatantly misinform the public while you know what you're doing. Like, somebody edited that clip on purpose. And like, okay, have your opinions about Joe Rogan, okay? Like, whatever. If you like him, cool. If you don't like him, whatever. Like, it's just, you know what I mean? It's not like take him aside. During COVID, when he was talking about, I don't know, some sort of other treatment, I can't remember exactly what he was talking about, but he posted this video on his Instagram after like taking some sort of supplement or something to help with COVID or whatever. And then CNN took that same video that he posted on his Instagram and just filtered the crap out of it to make him look terrible. And it was just like, you watch the video side by side, and like, regardless of what you think of Joe Rogan, that is character assassination right there. Like, you were trying to discredit somebody when you're throwing filth. Like, it was blatantly obvious. Like, it was so terrible. I'm like, come on, guys. Like, this is making me distrust everybody. And like, the whole thing with 24-hour news cycles too is just like, yeah, like, it creates an obsession. That was my thing during COVID, man. Is I was constantly glued to the freaking news, and it was fucking me up, man. I was getting pissed off because I was just glued to this news, this uncertainty, and then I had struggles telling myself, like, dude, like, you can't look up when is the pandemic going to end, because no one really knows when it's going to end, and that's just like an uncomfortable sort of thought that we have to live with. But the media was so good because they constantly, every day, posting case numbers, posting this, posting that, right? It's a every day, it's an update. You checking in, and it was really difficult to take a break. You know what I mean? It was really difficult to feel like it did feel like it was sucking you in, you know. And especially when they weren't really telling you any information like that you really needed to hear. Because if I went back and thought about, how much news could I have not listened to and still been fine? And I think it would it would be like 90%, 95% of the news that I was consuming, I did not need to pay attention to. Like, it was so pointless, you know. But it's just it was so infiltrating, and it was so inflammatory, right? Like, the way they write these headlines and make you worry so much about it, you know, and they make you want to have to check in the next day because you feel like something big is happening, but it's like, no, shit is the exact same as it was yesterday. All right, next one comes here from Streak Free Shine. An obsession with everything celebrities are doing. Multipass21 says, inclusive of influencers, streamers, and any other random person with a webcam, we get mad at narcissism but go out of our way to throw money at these folks. Not everybody needs to be a brand. The overwhelming majority of us are just plain ordinary humans, and that's okay. Avatosh says, from what I've seen of influencers or streamers, mostly Pokemon Let's, they seem to fill a role of friend/friendship to a lot of people who don't actually have friends in real life. These guys fill that gap and let you feel like you know them as people, since they're always posting their life online. Just seems like a new way to have interpersonal social relationships. Granted, I never watch mainstream streamers or use Instagram, TikTok, so probably a bit different from those types of followers. Not really, though, to be honest. Like I feel like there's certain people who follow celebrities in the tabloids, but like, and all that sort of stuff. But there also, I think, is a lot of people too who are constantly following people's like YouTube channels and all this sort of stuff, and streaming channels, constantly waiting for, you know, new updates and you know, having an obsession with what these people are doing in their lives. And it's just like, we need to stop caring so much about other people's lives and care more about our own. You know what I mean? Like, focus on our own lives. Content is a great way to like kind of enjoy something or escape, but it becomes a problem when you're just constantly waiting on every single thing that somebody else is doing. It's like, you know, this is partly why, you know, it's if you're so obsessed with something, you know what I mean? Instead of obsessing over that thing, try to create that thing, or try to adapt that thing, or transform that thing. What do you like about it, and how can you put your own spin on it, right? You know, use it as inspiration for something for you to create or you to enjoy, rather than, you know, just constantly consuming it and being completely overwhelmed by it. Next post comes from Mad Farmer. People are obsessed with youth, and some people will do anything to maintain its appearance. Clive Bigsby says, the ironic part is that a lot of things people do to make themselves look younger and better just makes them worse. Yeah, it makes them look like freaking wax figures, like, or some weird shit. Like, I don't. It makes them look like creepy dolls or something. Like the ridiculous amount of plastic surgery that people get. It's so. So I actually know somebody whose dad is like a plastic surgeon, and they always are telling them about when they recognize or when they see a celebrity or something, they can almost exactly, like, immediately tell who's had work done. And they say that like 90% of all celebrities and public people have had some sort of work done. And honestly, that's just like so sad. Like this whole body modification thing. And this is something I'm so not for. Like, okay, I think it's really important to exercise. I think it's really important to eat well. But other than that, like, take care of your body, you know what I mean? Like, don't stand out in the sun when the sun is 30 degrees outside, and don't just stand there and not put sunscreen on like that. Take care of your body. But the aging is a natural process. Like, I can't stand all this like anti-aging stuff. Like it's just or reverse aging. It's like, why though? Like, why do you want to get younger? Like, what's the point? Like, what do you want to just live forever? That sounds like it just sounds like you're trying to latch onto something that's just gone. That's not even there. You're grasping for at a cloud. You know what I mean? It's not in existence. I don't understand this whole like anti-aging thing. It doesn't really make sense to me. Like, what's the point? Like, what's the ultimate goal here? Is to just like stay young forever? You know what I mean? It's like, really, that's kind of sad, bro. Like, you know what I mean? I feel like as you age, that's part of the human experience. It's almost like, riding a roller coaster and never quite getting to the top, right? It's just like the whole point about life is to go through it, not to just like, go around it. It's just, I don't know. And it seems really toxic. Like, I don't understand the whole the anti-aging thing. Like, why? What's the point? Like, everyone's gonna get older, and then it is so funny because it is inherently so ironic, is that it's just like all the work that you're putting in to, keep yourself looking younger is actually making you look worse. You know what I mean? It's not hard. Just eat well and exercise. That's pretty much it. Like, that's you know what I mean? And other than that, it's just really, it's pretty much it. Momo. Oh, come on. I'm not saying that username. I live in let's just call him Momo. Momo. Let's call him Momo. I live in LA. I work somewhat connected to the entertainment industry. More times than I can enumerate, stunning women and a number of great-looking men have slowly distorted their faces and figures into oblivion in the span of 18 months. Many are unrecognizable. Literally, I've gone to events, bumped into people, and I didn't know who they were until I heard their voice. They start looking like this homogenous mass of the altered. Yeah. And the thing is, too, is like, aging actors and actresses, like, if you're actually a genuinely good actor or actress, sometimes people don't even get cast. Like, this is Pedro Pascal. Like, he was an actor like in his entire 20s and 30s or whatever, and he didn't even get a major role until he was in his mid to late 30s or something like that, and on Game of Thrones. Like, that was like his first major role, and he didn't get that until he was much older, because the whole thing is like, if people are typecast, right? That's the whole thing, is like, you might be an amazing actor, but you need to fit the part. You need to fit what the producers and the director and the writers are looking for. Like, you need to be the character. Sometimes you might be the best actor in the world, but are you the character that they're looking for? Do you embody what a character looks like in the minds of these people, right? Are you the real life manifestation of this particular character? It doesn't always work out like that, too, because, I mean, of course, there are celebrities who get major roles, but, for for people who are new on the scene, and there are still open, places for people, like Netflix has constantly new stuff that with actors and actresses that you've never seen it before in your life, like. And then these people go on to be very successful. Like all the kids from Stranger Things, where did you see them before? You know what I mean? They only became famous because of Stranger Things. But that's the thing is that these people are often typecast, and so if you try to reverse your aging, you're gonna make acting and acting as a career so much more difficult for yourself, because now you're altering your face and your body, and then you start to look like all the other people who would do that, and now you've ruined all your unique features, all the features that make you look like how you do, and so you're never going to get to know how you are aged. If you would have aged normally, you're not going to know how that person would have looked, and then maybe you could have gotten typecast for something. So like it becomes this whole ironic thing where it's like, well, you're actually like, if you're working to get more roles by making yourself look younger, but in reality you're actually potentially lowering your ability to get more roles because you're looking like a freaking, I don't know, blow up doll or something. You're looking, like, it creeps me out. All right, let's move on to the next one here. Shut Your Mouth 03 says, pointless relationships, settling for less just because you think you can't be alone is not healthy. I Aim to Sneeze says, I think it's even more nuanced than that, in the sense that people don't know what to truly prioritize as important for a successful relationship. In my 20s, I'd think of it as the biggest red flag in terms of compatibility if the person I was dating didn't share my taste in music, books, movies, etc. I went through a ton of relationships that seemingly started out great, only to fizzle or blow up because I wasn't focusing on what makes two people actually compatible. Like the ability to apologize when you're wrong, the desire to learn more about your significant other's interests, and a mutual understanding of what you both consider important versus stuff that really doesn't matter. My wife and I have completely different hobbies and tastes, and it's hands down the best and easiest relationship I've ever been in. I go to all of her games, she comes to shows with me, and through that mutual interest of getting to know each other more, we've grown more interested in each other's respective hobbies. Gil Stan quotes, in my 20s, I'd think of as the biggest red flag in terms of compatibility if the person I was dating didn't share my taste in music, books, blah, blah, blah. Confirm it's like this. A girl once rejected me because I like coffee, and she doesn't. That's just one example. You are so great. You're everything that I'm looking for. I just want to let you know that it's been such a wild ride with you. I feel like I just love you more and more every day. And I think about how we can spend the rest of our lives together. You are my everything. I love you so, so dearly. But it's just really not going to work out. What? Why? Why would you say all that really nice stuff and then just, what are you talking about? Is this a joke? I saw you were drinking coffee. I know. It's just, I can't be with someone who drinks coffee. I just can't. I won't be able to do it. You're going to have coffee breath, I just can't stand that coffee breath, And even though we are literally just, we're kindred spirits, we're intertwined souls, right? We're just two halves of each other's whole. And that is just, it's going to be really hard. Probably I'll never find somebody like you again, but the coffee, that just really does it for me. I can't do the coffee. I just can't do the coffee. So I'll see you around. Yeah, it is. And that's the thing is, actually, it's interesting when people have different interests, and it's more fun when people have different interests, because then you can learn, more about what they like. And who knows, maybe you might actually end up finding a new hobby because of their interests. It doesn't always have to be like that. Excuse me. But at the end of the day, it's still, you still might be able to actually, enjoy something you would have never thought you would enjoy because of somebody else, right? And that's the best part is diversifying, right? Like, I feel like I've had that problem too, where in the past, because I really like basketball and shoes and sneakers and all this sort of stuff. And I would look for people who are also interested in that sort of stuff. But it's like, you are just cutting out a giant demographic of people who don't care about that stuff, but might just be like really, really good for you in a lot of other ways, because maybe you have similar communication styles, maybe you have similar values, similar ways of conducting yourself, and that's the stuff that really matters, right? Is the stuff that makes us who we are, not the stuff that is not necessarily our interests, right? Like that's sort of the level 2 stuff. But the level 1 stuff is all the stuff that's like, are you kind? Are you caring? Are you concerned? Are you empathetic? Like all the really important stuff. Okay, I think I'm gonna just read one more off. Look at the Alien says, having to be first. It's okay if you beat me to the pump or if you beat me to the grocery store checkout line. It's okay if you get to the freeway exit before me or pull in front of me on the highway. I'm patient. It's a virtue. Unknown geeky nerd. I have ridiculously slow processing speed, and I had to learn that if I'm first, I probably did something wrong. Too burnt to name. People with the I need to be first, I'm in such a rush because my life is more important, drives me and bugs me so much, particularly when you end up pulling back up with them because they hit the same red light or stop sign, etc. I've literally seen people weave in and out of traffic, gunning at 15 to 20 over when they had space to do so, only for me to be right behind them again 30 seconds later. Their efforts made no difference to how fast they were getting where they were going, and exponentially more dangerous. That's like the meme of the BMW driver. It's the game of the BMW driver where you're just like riding people, and then at the slightest opportunity you pass them, but then like they pass you super fast, and then they have only inevitably to just like slow right back down, and then you're like right behind them. But yeah, life isn't a race, man. Life is not something to, life is something to be enjoyed. You know what I mean? But it's a weird sense of competitiveness too. Like it's just like could you imagine how annoying it would be to have that friend all the time that's just like, hey man, like you want to go for groceries? She's like, yeah, I'll beat you to the store. You want to beat to the store? How about we bet? How about we bet on it? How about we bet that I beat you to the store first? Okay. I mean, like, I'm not really in a rush. I don't really have a whole lot to do today. Oh, come on, man. Come on. Everything. Come on. Like, what are you scared? You scared that you're going to lose? Come on, man. Don't be a loser. That's fine. I think I'm okay. I don't think I'm going to bet on this one. I don't have a horse in this race. Oh, horse races. We should go to the horse races. You want to bet at the horse races? I bet my horse finishes faster than your horse. I bet I get to the horse races before you get to the horse races. I bet I get in my car to get to the horse races before you get in your car to get to the horse races. I bet I get you on the street before the horse racing place before you get there. Sure, man. Whatever. It's like this doesn't work out very well for you if you're talking about having kids. I bet I have a kid before you. Yeah, sure. If you want to. I'm probably going to wait the next 10 years before I have a kid. Not really in a rush because a child, is kind of like a whole responsibility, right? You're responsible for a whole entire life type of thing, right? I don't think I want to rush that. Ha! I already got like 3 girls pregnant, so I'm going to be a father before you. Wow. Ooh. Well, good luck with that. All right, okay, folks, let's wrap it up here for the day. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Reddit Asks Us podcast, where we read and react to our comments from r/AskReddit. I am your host, Luke Dick. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. If you're watching on YouTube, and if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever else you get your podcasts, make sure to leave us a rating, and also please leave us a review. You can find us, or if you want to comment something on the most recent episode, go ahead and do that. Comment on my YouTube channel, and I will read that comment out loud on the next week's following episode. I love each and every single one of you. Thank you for hanging out with me for a nice, solid, cool half an hour on this beautiful Tuesday. And I hope each and every one of you has an amazing day and following week. I'll see y'all next week. Peace out.